you look for a second one later on. And map control really was all in favor of Tempo.
All right, well, of course, we have to find out what our second battleground is going to be here in this series as CE tries to salvage the situation. It's going to be Tomb of the Spider Queen, and once again, it's Tempo Storm's choice.
Yeah, and at this point, of course, it also means that we have first pick on the side of CE, and this is a battleground that they are going to be way more familiar with. So I think they should feel more confident on this map.
Yeah.
But the first game must come to them as a bit of a shock. And of course, there's a lot of momentum for Tempo Storm right now. At this point, if you have another trick up your sleeves,
that's it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That would be it.
Yeah,
it's a fantastic position for them.
I think that, to be honest, one of the things, we talk about the lack of identifying the strategy for CE. I was pretty disappointed with the Brightwing play as well in moments like boss control, how greedy Brightwing was split pushing, who she was deciding to phase shift onto. I think the Brightwing play, even though it looked actually pretty good against MVP Black in this situation, maybe they were flustered, but either way, I think their Rhaegar Lucio is much stronger than their Brightwing play overall.
Yeah, I mean, I fully agree. And we had that idea of that, the phase shift would come in onto Tracer, either that or the Illidan, the shield from Tesla as the insurance policy thereafter, and things would be good to go. But it wasn't to be the case. And well, then we go to a bit more of a skirmish-heavy map. It is Tomb of the Spider Queen. This should really pander to the idea of what CE want to do.
All right, game number 2 here. Tempo Storm 1 game away from qualifying on to the round of 8 and BlizzCon. And if they're able to do that, a lot of people came into this group 50-50 on who could advance on, but for Tempo Storm, that will be a huge result.
Yeah, definitely. And at the beginning of the group, when the first few matches were played out, it really looked to me as if CE was way stronger. Now, as we said, they struggled to realize what was going on the first map, so that puts Tempo Storm in the driver's seat. And now, all of a sudden, CE is faced with a situation that is difficult to handle. You know that one single map loss and that's it. So right now there's a ton of pressure on them, and let's see how they deal with it.
Yeah, and not only that, they were preparing, waiting for this match, watching Tempo Storm show so many different strategies in the previous series. Now they've shown a completely different one. You've got one life left, and momentum is totally shifted. The driver's seat is definitely Tempo. So we saw him on camera there, but actually here in the studio, he was standing up and screaming, let's go, let's go. So momentum is totally in Tempo Storm's court right now, and if they can carry that in, I think a 2-0 is the only way they win this best of 3, to be honest.
The best way to look at that is Psalm, especially out of all players in North America, I think is probably on parallel with someone like Glaurung, who is fueled by emotion. And when he gets hyped, the entire team gets hyped around him.
Yeah, I mean, he's such a leader in that way, and he's the player who plays these high-skill heroes and obviously has a large hand in these strategies they've made. So I think the team could definitely get behind this. We're going to see them going back to the Malthel pick, though, from the first series against CE. So going back to quote-unquote more standard play instead of taking an odder strategy like we saw against Deadly Kittens and in that first game here in this series as well.
I actually wouldn't be too surprised here, given that we've seen in the past when they've gone up against the Malthel, they've either picked the Lucio or the Rhaegar. Yes, they've gone for the Oriole in that first rotation. Wouldn't be unopposed to actually securing at least one, because you'd imagine the other would be either banned away or taken. And that way you have that security against the Malthel to make sure that when he does go in with that Tormented Souls, hey, you do have a way to swing favors back in your side of the court.
Now, the one thing with Rhaegar, what we've seen with Malthael a few times now, is already that thanks to the level 7 talent, you can really hurt any kind of ancestral attempt in that front line. So that's a bit of a problem that you sometimes have. Rhaegar, it's himself, thanks to the wave clear and all that AoE heal, is still fantastic. We could see Lucio if they want to go a direct count against Malthael, as we have seen before. But for the bot lane, first of all, what we're seeing is Sonya to have that direct matchup with Malthael himself. And I actually love that we have Tyrael in here, because that's what especially Wolf can talk about.
Yeah, and we
in
see
the Korean and Chinese meta, Tyrael is just absolutely like a huge staple.
He's so strong with Sonya, and he's also very strong against Malthael when he goes for his Tormented Souls. You can completely nullify that damage.
Yeah.
And another hero he's very strong with that can work with a double support Ariel is the Greymane. It's not this go-to with Ariel. You don't think of Greymane as a battery. So it might seem counterintuitive to actually ban the Greymane in this case, with the Ariel being the main support here that you've picked in your first rotation. But I think, given the comp they've now built around, I think the Greymane is a very strong damage dealer for CE.
Yeah, Tempo Storm on the other hand, they don't really want to deal with Lucio again. Malthael is just too hard kind of bite, and already you have Tyrael on the other hand. That Ana is being banned out, I don't think comes as a surprise to anybody anymore against Tempo Storm, especially with Malthael in the mix. You don't want the nano boosted Malthael just ripping through your backline, so Ana immediately taken out by CE here. And Tempo Storm, now let's see what the damage is going to look like. First of all, utility through Malfurion, decent wave clear as well. Fantastic hero in particular for this map.
Do you think they'll take the Greymane here? I mean, they didn't ban it, but it certainly could work with their composition. He's got good wave clear, good siege, works very well with the objective.
I mean, I feel you have to go double support with this, so I would take the second support and they go.
Do you think they're going to go Kerrigan again? If you look at that comp,
Yeah.
You could. I mean, they played something similar already. One of the good things about Kerrigan, normally you would expect a range damage dealer, but if you go Kerrigan, you take pressure away from Malthiel, and that allows him to run rampant. Then again, it depends a little bit, I feel, on what CE picks now in terms of damage, because the one thing that worked well for Tempo Storm when they used Kerrigan against Deadly Kittens was that there was no great poke hero against a massive frontline.
Right.
And if now all of a sudden we see those poke heroes coming in for CE, then Tempo Storm would probably be hesitant to pick Kerrigan here since they could be poked down quite easily from a distance.
the one potential downside, of course, as well, is that sanctification on the other side. That kind of hurts.
Yeah, I still want to go back to the Greymane pick here. I think if you go for Quicksilver bullets and you take a more distanced approach to this, I think he's a fantastic answer to what Tempo Storm has brought here.
Yeah, I mean, it gives you mobility. It means you don't necessarily have to jump into the threat of what Malfurion offers with the root, with the Twilight Dream, and make sure that, you know, when you're in that Worgen form, you do get taken down just like that. But they run it straight away back. They go back with that Oriole hyper carry for the Vala. They've got the Tesla as well. A little bit more comfort picks, it seems, right now for the C. Yes, not the Greymane, but the Vala still works in the same fashion. We saw a multi-shot actually earlier today, but it still feels like to me, especially from an aggressive team, they want to go for the Hungering Arrow, find that burst and get that kill.
I would not want Kerrigan with this. I think there are way too many tools that could be used. The whip on Oriole alone is already one thing that can really just push Kerrigan back if she tries to engage. You have Vala with Rain of Vengeance later on, who can literally hit Malthiel, Kerrigan, and a Muradin if you would.
Oh, they're gonna do it, man.
But they do it.
No,
I mean, it can. Don't get me wrong, it can work.
Yeah.
But I really think that what CE has, if they play their cards right here, is going to make it way, way harder for Tempo Storm than what they experienced against Deadly Kittens.
Yeah, I agree. And, like, Deadly Kittens, I think, didn't deal with it very well, you know? But even if you know and you've already seen this, it doesn't make it any easier to play against it if you've never practiced against it.
So what I think Tempo Storm has to do is again, they need to dominate the early game.
Yeah.
Because once that Sanctification is in play, and once that we have Rain of Vengeance on Vala, it's going to make it incredibly difficult for any proper engage. Also, since Tacita, if they feel they don't need the extra damage, you could go into a force wall and then you can just like section people off.
Trap the Kerrigan who comes in at you.
Exactly. Kerrigan, Muradin jump in, you trap the rest out, and you say like, thank you very much, that's for dinner. So the early game is really where Tempo Storm has to push it through.
Skimmy, your thoughts?
The biggest thing for me really to take away, but the sort of difference between this series and the one against DK was that there's no cleanse this time around. So yes, you can make the argument there's a lot of defensive cooldowns between Oriole, Tyrael, Testa, and Vala to shut things down if the sort of snowball that Tempo Storm are after doesn't come about. But the cleanse, you know, we saw it time and time again. There would be the Kerrigan combo, there'd be the root underneath as well. Everyone would pile on in and the kill would be acquired. But without that, that could be the driving force that allows them to snowball pre-10.
Also, another factor is really when we talk about, hey, they need to be careful in the early game. Well, if you give the early game up, then your opponent gets the early turn and then gets snowballed to a second. So you can't just simply sit tight and wait for 10 because that's going to be an issue too. So Tempo Storm definitely has options here, but CE is going to make it way more difficult than Deadly Kittens did.
Thanks very much, gentlemen. Time now to head over to game number 2. Will Tempo Storm's Kerrigan carry them through here on to BlizzCon in the round of 8? We're about to find out.
Hello and welcome back here. Gilly and myself are excited to bring you that second game with that Kerrigan comp once again. Kerrigan.
Yes, the Circle of Death Part 2 for Tempo Storm. They did it versus Deadly Kittens when they were down and out.
Twilight Dream, Maelstrom, Tormented Souls, lots of Circles of Death. But this time, there's a counter circle, wax on, wax off, Sanctification from Tyrael.
Sanctification will be there. There's also a Crystal Aegis if one person is the immediate target with a Kerrigan combo. But what do you think? What do you think about this composition coming back in for Kerrigan? You and I were thinking more that it might be the Kel'Thuzad,
Yeah, Kel'Thuzad would have looked pretty good as well. There is no cleanse, so you don't have that button where you can remove the displacement and the stunt. But I think it is still possible. I look at that and I say, yeah, I would play Kerrigan against that, but it is a little bit more difficult than before.
Well, let's see if Tempo Storm can do it, or if CE will bring us back to Game 3 as we head on in to Tomb of the Spider Queen for Game 2.
So here on the left side, fighting for their tournament life. They're down 0-1 in this best of 3, lose, and they are out. It's CE. We've got Paradise on Sonya, Loktar on Vala. He's the substitute player for CE. And we've got KTY on Tassadar, Lufu on Ariel, and Wind on Tyrael. And my, oh my, what a pleasure to watch Wind on Tyrael.
Yeah, I'm so excited that we get another Wind Tyrael play, but I'm excited for this team too. It is Tempo Storm, with Som playing Kerrigan, Caterpillar playing Malthael, June will be playing Uther, Fury on Muradin, and finally Cawthon Luck back on Malfurion. Cawthon's Malfurion, that was something that was new that they brought into this tournament before, usually on his secondary supports, playing things like Tassadar, Brightwing 2, Lily, of course, we've seen that too, but it's been great to see them be able to integrate more supports into their repertoire.
And Ana got banned by CE. Ana has that mana-giving heroic nano boost, as well as the cooldown reduction on abilities. Malfurion has that, a small version of it in the interface. So that's pretty cool on Malthael and Kerrigan as well.
Yeah, that was another reason why I was thinking maybe we would see the Kel'Thuzad for Som, but still being able to have a lot of combos, that'll help too, as Som jumps in for one of those. Pulling in, got the roots underneath now. This is Vala who has been hit, but the double support staying strong of CE.
So talking about that Kerrigan once again, because it is such an unusual pick, speaking about what's good for her and what's bad, Kerrigan has really good wave clear, she's got great pick-off potential, and if you are better and play better than your opponent, Kerrigan is one of the best heroes you could possibly have. If you're equally matched, it can be a little bit tougher. Dodging her combo, if you don't hit her combo, she is a very risky hero. Once you jump in, you're in trouble. But that's why we've got Uther, of course. Giving that armor, Divine Shield later on, it's a great way to cover for her weaknesses.
To me, what has seemed to stand out for Tempo Storm, as we look at all of the series that they've played today, compositions that allow Som to sort of dictate when the aggression takes place, when they go into a team fight, generally seems to be going well for them. When they play their Kerrigan, when he was on Kel'Thuzad. These heroes, yes, they are also unorthodox, and maybe that's part of it, that they're new, but it does seem like when Som is able to say, this is the point that I want to go in, and this is the point that Wind wants to go in, Som dives back forward though, with a little juke to get caught back out, but yeah, it seems like it's Som.
It's a great point, because it takes away part of the responsibility from your main tank,
right?
From Fury. It allows Fury to play a little bit more conservatively, which I feel fits him a lot better.
Same.
Love him on Muradin and Johanna. He plays those very stably, very textbook. And then Som, who is a bit more aggressive, just in his character as well, you know? He can do that. Kel'Thuzad, Kerrigan, what do they have? A lot of stunts.
Right.
So it makes sense. Stunts, displacement, he can help out with that. Now Kerrigan with the combo. Misses it, gets the minion wave. Still a lot of damage on Vala. Vala trying to get away. Fury jumps in, and they confirm the kill. Tempo Storm, first blood.
Great communication from Tempo Storm as they went down to the mid. Caterpillar came up for the flank. Even though the initial combo may not have been a success, they had the root underneath, and that was enough to get Caterpillar in the position when he was able to get the Reaper's Mark on it. And once the Reaper Mark is on you, it's very hard to get away from death because of Wraith Strike and how he can jump in on top of you.
Exactly, and you know, you may wonder, how did Malthael get to the mid lane so fast? I know it's a small map. Just how fast can he get there? Well, he's got on a pale horse. He's got 20% bonus movement speed on his mount, his level 1 choice. No one really takes this, but he does. Here we go with another fight, 1 for 1. Uther goes down, that means lots of healings in that undying form. Paradise nearly dies there. Vala, and once again the Wraith Strike, and Sonya as well. Why not? Throw in Tyrael for good measure.
Som was all over that fight, jumping on top of everybody. Gets in with a combo.
30 gems!
Now they've caught Tassadar.
What is Tassadar doing here?
30 gems. KTY comes out of Dimensional Shift, but gets back in time. That would have been catastrophic for CE. It's already bad enough.
Wow, Tassadar with the 30 gems, with the tail between the legs. I don't know if Protoss have tails, actually. But anyway, it's a tale of analogies here anyway. CE gets away with those gems, but Tempo Storm will get the turn in. Let's look at that fight once again. Resets. Genji, who? How about Kerrigan? Boom, with the Ravage, getting the kill. Jumping after them here with the combo. Getting that Vala there, taking her down. Ravage reset, and on Paradise. Auto attack finish her off.
Yeah, and between Caterpillar and Som, this mobility, there's no keeping Vala safe in the backline, it seems, even with these two strong frontliners of Tyrael and Sonya. As long as Reaper's Mark is there, Kerrigan doesn't even need the Reaper's Mark, she can get in, but as long as she's there, they have this ability to teleport anywhere and get on top of the target that they want. It doesn't allow CE to choose and say, hey, this person stays safe because we have the frontliners in front, you have to attack us.
We have Uther still holding his level 7 talent. June, not sure if he wants to get cleansed, Guardian of Ancient Kings, and he's waiting for a talent here. Which one is he waiting for?
Is he waiting for 10? Does he hold it all the way to Judgment?
Oh, he wants to see if Leap and Judgment are
Leap and
going to
Judgment,
happen,
yeah.
I guess. Well, he goes with Hand of Protection now anyway. The wait is over. Very special build anyway from June here with the Hammer of the Lightbringer at level 1. More stuns, more mana from auto attacks. Burden of Guilt at level 4. Electing not to go for the wave clear, but a little bit of... wait, it's not...
Is that Pursuit?
Yeah, the Pursuit of Justice.
Yeah.
Increasing his own movement speed, not slowing down an opponent, yeah. So he wants to catch up and do a lot of auto attacks.
Yeah, we saw him all the way up in front. He wants to be a member of the front line just as much as Caterpillar, Psalm, and Muradin are anyway. We might even see Malfurion up there once he gets Twilight Dream and Ice Block later on. But Tempo Storm gets that first Web Weaver phase. They get some structural damage done, and they have a little bit of time until they'll have heroic abilities and can set up for the next turn in, but don't quite have the gems to get that just yet.
Alright, if CE could have a turn in, the question is, would they even want to? It would be kind of a time-buying mechanic, trying to catch up to level 10, but there's no way that CE could push with the objective not having level 10. So ideally, CE would love to get to level 10 without letting either team pay. Now, Tempo Storm, they still need about 8 gems or so to get their turn in. So if CE can maybe get a Bruiser Camp, create a bit of space, deny turn-ins, that would be ideal for them. But for Tempo Storm, they've got level 10, they need to flip the switch. It's a little bit too long to wait for a turn in right now. I'd love Tempo, yeah, get this camp, very nice, and then converge on a location, try to get a kill or maybe some push.
Yeah, do some damage to a fort later on, so once you do get a turn in, you can make sure that you are getting the most out of those Web Weavers. That looks like what they're doing in the bottom lane. Fury's even going to check out and see that CE is on their bruiser point,
wow.
and frankly, you just can't really be here. He takes the bruisers away, and the threat of more members joining is enough to scare CE off the point.
Yeah, sometimes that one warrior represents additional reinforcement. Even when they're very far away, they know Malthael has on a pale horse. He's going to be there anytime soon. So they give up the bruiser camp. Cool move there by Fury. But has it been enough? We had a 1.5 level lead for Tempo. They will get the turn in, but they've allowed CE to catch up with level 10. Still, good value though. You steal the bruiser, you get the fort.
Especially since stealing the bruisers for CE up, which then allowed Tempo to push even harder in that bottom lane with the giants that they got. So that fort is gone, it's forfeit, and that gives a little more experience for Tempo to try to get to the 13 tier, far and ahead of CE. And now there's more Web Weavers, so Tempo can focus on these final 2 forts, bringing those down, and then just running rampant around the map, looking to see where they can get picks with their hard crowd control style strategy.
Psalm is going to keep his eyes open here for the exact moment where he wants to jump in, and I like this. Ravage, jump in, don't use your combo. Don't want to use it too fast. A lot of such fake moments, it's like the boy who cried wolf. Danger, danger, danger. It's always a joke, people don't believe it anymore, and when the wolf finally comes, everyone's asleep and doesn't believe it anymore. That's how you want to play as Kerrigan. Jump in again, no combo. And then suddenly, combo out of nowhere. Very nice moves here by Kerrigan, but it's on. Here we go.
Sanctification was used, but not really an enabling point, and all that did was allow Tempo Storm to move back, but it did stop them for a bit. Crystal Aegis to let them live through Psalm on top of them, but Tyrael was out in front, and he will go down. Archangel's Wrath doesn't bring down Psalm. Tempo Storm find yet another kill.
That was so well orchestrated and managed by Tempo. Granted, the Sanctification was a little bit far back, a little bit weird, you know, not really something you can walk forwards into and gain this oasis of safety and then forwards momentum to make use of that invincibility. It was very safe. And then Tyrael forward. He lost his 30 gems. Thankfully for CE, they did pick up those gems. Got to, fam. Locks carry. Yeah.
A little bit of maybe miscommunication about the type of carry they were talking about, but hey, it seems to be working out for Tempo Storm.
It's like that guy who picks Sergeant Hammer when you say we still need a tank.
Yeah. You talking from personal experience there?
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes I do it. I'm like, you mean this? And the team is like, yeah. And then I do it. Sometimes crazy wins. You know, the crazy comps always win Hero League, right, Gilly?
that is, of course, a fact that everybody knows about,
Always,
for sure.
100% of the time. Tempo Storm now with the boss. They do give up one turn in. Worth it?
What do you think?
I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of giving away talent lead situations and giving away turn in for a boss, because you don't really want to ignore 2 sets of web weavers. And you can't ignore a boss when the web weavers are defending. I feel like it forces Tempo Storm's rotations more than it forces CE. And
Yeah,
there's 110 gems, so it's not like CE has now given away their chance to do a next turn in.
Yeah, what it does do is get some time for CE to catch up to
Right.
the talent tier of Tempo
And I
Storm.
don't think you want to do that. I think you want to keep a chokehold on the map. Don't give away turn in or boss, and then take what you can without doing either of those things.
Well, Wynn did find a Malfurion hanging out in lane, but unfortunately for him, it's not until he gets Holy Ground at 16 that you can really segment somebody away from a team long enough to get that kill. So Koth and Luck made it back. Now Som might be the one to go after. No force walls here either from CE, so it's all about making sure that they can get the right catch with somebody, use Wynn's Angel's Grace that he's taken again to get into a better position for Sanctification, and then jump in with the Poison Spear of Sonya. They have a lockdown of Rain of Vengeance to follow up. They're just about to get 13 now. That might be a point for them to use all of these abilities to start getting back into this game.
They will try to get a turn in. 1 second away. Another 6 seconds to pay or so. In comes Fury. Gotta be careful. You can't get comboed here with the stun. Look at that. Wrath of the Berserker cutting in half the duration of Psalm's stun. A lot of counter damage. Keep in mind, Kerrigan is predominantly an early game hero. Blue Web Weaver, CE did a good job. Kerrigan, she does scale pretty okay into the late game with a level 16 and 20 talents, but her time to shine is usually to get early game advantage. You don't want to fall behind with her because it's so important to confirm those kills with the combo. So far, that looks good for Tempo, but this could be the turnaround point if ever there was going to be one.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, do you feel like the advantage that they got was enough? They got all of the forts down, they got the boss to waste 50 of CE's gems, but CE were able to hold on to so many that now they have a second Web Weaver phase with which to deal structural damage now.
You know, I think it is still enough. Definitely, it's still slightly in favor for Tempo. I wouldn't say it's like a 70-30 game, but maybe
Okay.
60-40. 16 is very close. You need a few minions, maybe one kill, but CE doesn't want to wait for that long. They jump in. Tyrael with the Aegis. Twilight Dream will not be hitting Tyrael because of a very timely Crystal Aegis.
Crystal Aegis was good, Tyrael's still alive and has Sanctification. They want to take this further, but for CE, it was all about equalizing out the structures if they could. Now Paradise C, Som is pretty low, Rain of Vengeance, and there is the Divine Shield to let Som jump forward with his Circle of Death, the Tormented Souls too, but the Sanctification was just so good.
Yeah, very good Sanctification, but the Divine Shield really saved Som. I can't believe every member of Tempo Storm is alive.
I know!
I mean, we had Muradin here, we had Fury, we had Malthea, we had Kerrigan, everyone dropping to 5% life. June gives the Divine Shield to Kerrigan and the complete turnaround. The monster combo there with Maelstrom, with Double Strike, with Essence for Essence, the level 16 talent. And Tempo Storm only loses 2 forts due to complete turnaround fight. Tassadar once again the only victor. Tell the others of us, of our exploits. And they turn around, they get the top keep. And now, very good situation for the boss later.
Yep, they set up for that potential boss. There's no tower standing in the way between the boss and the keep. There's also a turn-in possible now for Tempo Storm, and they have 16. They have 17 now to the 15 of CE. So this is perfect, the perfect storm for Tempo Storm to try to start taking out keeps, opening up the battle road, get those catapults pushing, use their aggressive composition to maybe take out CE.
10-1 in takedowns, 2 levels. 1 talent up, Web Weavers up a fort. Tempo Storm has everything they need to either win the game right here in the next 1 minute or so, or to get very far ahead and be so close to level 20. The Storm tier talents, then off the back of the boss to finish the game definitively. Will Tempo Storm advance? Winning the best of 3 here doubles the team's prize money. You go to top 8, but most importantly of all, Gilly, you go to BlizzCon proper.
Yes. That is the stage that every player dreams of playing on, the BlizzCon stage. That is the end goal. Tempo Storm knows that they are well on their way to getting just that. No push in the mid, so they'll turn their attention up to the top. They're drawing some of the resources of CE there, but CE don't want to lose this keep. They are desperate to get through this web weaver phase, but it's so hard to defend versus a Kerrigan who can come in with a combo like that.
This is level 15.9. This is very anti-timing by CE, but they feel like they can wait no longer. They think they find Malfurion, but the Divine Shield will come out to save him. Kerrigan combo misses. Malfurion goes down. This is turning sour in Tempo Storm's mouth.
Oh, amazing detainment strike too, and that'll be the end of Uther. Psalm caught in the middle of the fray of CE, and he will fall. 4 kills for CE. Such a big momentum swing in this game for the Chinese team.
And this wasn't supposed to happen, Gilly. You do not fight at level 15.9 unless you know exactly what you're doing. I don't think Tempo Storm expected it. You look at that XP bar and you make it your holy grail, your Bible. 15.9, no. 16, yes. But CE, they saw uniquely that Malfurion was out of position. They jumped on Malfurion, on Coffin Lock, isolated him, Ice Block delayed merely the inevitable, and 2 Kerrigan combos missed in a row. So there was not enough counter threat. Even Divine Shields could not salvage that fight. And CE now, with the late game powerhouse that Sonya can be with Holy Ground, they grab the boss. And they are absolutely looking to do some serious lasting damage here. But the thing is, as much as you've been losing all game, CE does not need to be desperate. They do not need to feel desperate in their minds. Sometimes people do, but it's not needed. They don't even need a keep. After all, they have never lost a keep yet.
Yeah, they haven't lost a keep, and this is going to do more than the damage that was done to their keep. CE backs off, and I want to reiterate something that I said earlier. This is not a normal CE thing to do. Sometimes they will get panicked. They will feel like they have to take a fight, and that's the only way that they're able to win a game. But this is an evolution of this team CE. But that fight, taking a fight, pre-16 when Tempo Storm had it, that is something that CE has always been amazing at. And that is taking a fight, being willing to take a fight that looks like you should not be taking it at all, but understanding when they need to get in there, they need to do it. And that is keeping CE in this game right now. Forcing that early Divine Shield, then they didn't have it for the Malthael and the Kerrigan. It was a completely different change to the fights that Tempo Storm has had so far in this game.
Plus, it's only amazing if it works.
That's true.
If it doesn't work, it's really dumb. So
it's the winners who write history, something like that.
Yeah, the self-fulfilling prophecy.
Of course, yeah.
Winners' history books, definitely. So just to kind of elaborate on your point, Malfurion, Muradin are never allowed to need a Divine Shield.
Right.
Because that one should go to Malthael and Kerrigan. Now, Tempo Storm may have a keep almost down, but they're closer to level 20. The question is, can they manipulate the map in such a way that they can take advantage of that? It's time. Start the clock. 20 seconds and CE catches up. 15 seconds left. But Tempo Storm is showing in many different sides of the map. For what? Collecting gems. And this is nice. But it's not, you know, it's not pulling the trigger nice. Like, really going for it. Fetching exactly what you need to fetch with that advantage.
Now they're doing it. Did take a little bit of time, but they're getting in and at least invading the bruisers, seeing if somebody from CE is here, but CE not
I mean, that
allowing.
would be a rookie mistake.
Right, exactly.
Like, oh, let's take our own bruiser. It's on our side of the map, so it's safe.
Yeah, at this point in time, CE has to hold and get 20. They know that the momentum has swung back in their favor. They have to be patient, oh so patient. They're even really close to being able to get a turn in too. So all of these things setting up well for them. Tempo Storm will just have to go back, turn in the gems that they have been able to get, and CE will hit 20.
Would actually be cool if Tempo only killed the gem-carrying minions. Don't kill the footmen, just the archers in the back, the spiders. Get the gems, and then keep the lanes more pushed so that CE cannot pick up their own gems as easily. Because Tempo, a little bit further away from their gems than CE is. And now the level 20 advantage has dissipated. Kerrigan gets Psionic Shift, which is a kind of Burning Rage blink, but you'll generally use it just to correct positioning that gets you killed. I don't think you want to use it to jump in. You've already got Ravage for that. So it does help her a little bit, but it's not like a huge power spike.
Still waiting to see what the level 20 is. Stormbolt stops Luful from turning in. Tempo thinking about a flank. Is redemption for Uther at level 20. Didn't know if we were going to see the increased duration Bulwark of Light.
And then of course Malthael with the revive talent. He can press a button to revive instantly, but the next time his respawn time will take longer if he dies again. can use this once every 3 minutes. It's actually really not good to pick this talent while you're alive. Unlike Uther's Redemption, if you pick it post-mortem, you can immediately use it. So you can maintain the option to pick another talent. If anything, this shows he really, really wants this one. But he didn't need to take it yet.
When
Anyway, it's small stuff.
At what point do you take another one though? Isn't there
Well,
just like the threat that at any point you could die?
Yeah, I could see how like you'd never want another one, but let's say if you're 5 versus 2 and you're like, oh, I'll just upgrade my ult, or I'll get the Death Shroud and get a bit more damage.
Yeah,
that will
if I'm
certainly help with the core all in.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe once you're on the core, then you know. I was thinking about maybe people who are thinking about branching out and playing Malthael for themselves. Give them a little bit of insight. We've got Web Weavers here at the base of Tempo Storm. They are the blue ones for CE. Here.
Murden with the jump in, misses the Stormbolt. Sonya goes deep. Hardened Shield. Crystal Aegis, same time. That's a poor overlap for CE.
Yeah, there was the Sanctification was the longer one now too, but Divine Shield is keeping Psalm alive as he pulls back in. Sonya's gone.
Tempo Storm with the kill on Sonya. She is the main source of
Cattle.
damage here for CE. But don't forget, Twilight Dream.
He's bought back into life. June barely stays alive, throws out the Frisbee, and heals himself back up. This fort still lives. They're ready to get back into it with Cattle coming back to life and coming back to the mid lane. But a keep has fallen in the top lane. CE lose Sonya. They lose one, but they do take a keep.
Yeah, mid keep almost down. Top keep goes down because of the pressure. Twilight Archon was huge, and he's still keeping it up by attacking things, but soon he will run out of things to auto-attack. So we have a situation now where Twilight Archon is gone. Temper Storm, no heroics right now, and they're forcing a 5 versus 4. This is incredibly risky. You don't want to know what Holy Ground can do in such quarters.
All they want is the fight. They want CE to come up here without their Sonya and make them take this fight
combo
here.
miss. The Kerrigan needs auto attacks now
Cattle,
to get the cooldown reduction.
The Holy Ground. Alright, Caterpillar safe. Fury getting in now. Psalm coming back in, but Dimensional Shift gets Tassadar away. Sonya is back up and starting to head in here, but Crystal Aegis is forced.
And after Aegis, still out of position. Vala cannot get her way out of this. And this is still 5 versus 4 though. Sonya is back, has Hardened Shield again. Sonya can win this fight single-handedly. Will Aluful stay alive? No! Tempo Storm take down Ariel. And Tassadar.
This incredible synergy from Tempo Storm. A combo goes in. Fury jumps on top. Then Caterpillar is here. Tempo Storm have taken every single member of CE out. They go to the boss, but all they care about is taking out these members, killing CE, so they can take down this keep and they can march to the core.
And CE has fallen to chaos. Sanctification Holy Arena is available. All members of his team are dead. CE felt the need, the urgent need to dispute the boss. 4 versus 5, lost one, again 4 versus 5. They felt that need, but Temper Storm controlled the chaos better, and they have done it. The revenge turnaround 2-0 against CE, the team that sent them to the lower bracket, and Temper Storm will go to BlizzCon.
A lot of people had doubts about this North American team, not just because they lost to CE 2-0 earlier, but because they have had a tough time at every single international event this year. But Tempo Storm has always stuck together as a team. They have come back swinging after every single time that they failed, and this time they take out CE, they took out Deadly Kittens, and they get to go to BlizzCon and play in the round of 8.
Number 1 in the group, MVP Black. Number 2, Tempo Storm. And unfortunately, CE will be eliminated, as well as Deadly Kittens. There are 2 more North American teams in this tournament. Let's see if they can join their brethren in Tempo Storm. And there are 2 more Chinese teams. Let's see if they can do what CE could not in this group. Beyond the Game and SPT.
That closes it out for Grubby and I. Let's head to the analyst desk one last time.
Thank you very much, guys. Of course, that is a big, big win there for Tempo Storm. Not only getting the redemption that they wanted against CE, but also moving on to BlizzCon. Big for Tempo Storm to play on that stage. Big for North America to already confirm a spot at BlizzCon.
Yeah, it was really well played by them, especially there in the end. And Salmon Kerrigan with the combos definitely carrying for them.
Yeah, very impressive.
I mean, I thought there were some really questionable sanctifications that have winned in that game. I feel like he was the weak link. He was the strength. He was the tool they had to win those fights. We talked about it post-10. The Sank is the savior for this team.
Yep.
And it just felt like again and again and again, he just didn't hit the mark.
And to me, to further that point even further, it's kind of like the argument of like ETC and Stitches. You know, you can do nothing all game. You can whiff, you can whiff, you can whiff. One good Sank and you can win the game. And you saw the one time that they landed it really well, they crushed the fight. But as soon as it went pear-shaped, you could just see they run rampant. I mean, Sam for me had to be the MVP. Just the fact that he was able to find that value with the Kerrigan.
Yep.
They accentuate the early game. Through to that late game stage, you're thinking, oh, is Kerrigan still going to do anything? Answer is yes.
It got definitely a little bit dicey towards the end. In the early game, I would argue he was a bit too aggressive, fighting into the Kerrigan, what we talked about. Then 10 comes online. They have Sanctification. They have Rain of Vengeance. And the first Sanctification was in the middle of nowhere. Like, the fight was at the completely other side of the screen, and they still lose fights. But the one-time Sanctification hits, they get, I think, 3 to 4 kills.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that led them to a late game where they could have won it. But thanks to the buyback also on Malthael, it just allowed them the 5 versus 4 fight then around the boss.
I think this is a story of a team that has a long-standing roster. Obviously, all 5 of them, no visa problems or anything like that, but a long-standing roster with momentum. You win the first game, you're on the streak of defeating Deadly Kittens. You had just won with the Kerrigan comp before. You're up a game in the series, and you have that momentum, and you try something. You have potential strategy you could use in Game 3. And I think the Chinese team in that chaos, even though they've shown it in their own region so well, we've seen Wind is heralded as one of the best Chinese Tyraels. I think in that moment where they lost momentum and Tempo Storm had such momentum on their side, we talked about it, they're a momentum-based team. I think that's really, gameplay aside, what pushed them through to take this 2-0.
Gimme?
I was just going to say, I mean, it's just a case of they control the early game, which is their strategy. And we were asking, you know, will CE just back over and say, look, like, command it? And if that's the case, you saw actually what happened during the game. There's like a 2-level lead for the majority of their game. The biggest turnaround being that Sanctification we're talking about. That's when they turn things around. That's when they get the boss control, potentially the hand in, looking for that keep. But, you know, execution on the day. Tempo Storm take it.
That's right. A brilliant shift of gears for Tempo Storm from the start of this group to the very end of it as they prevail and are able to advance on to BlizzCon. Let's head down to the stage to hear from Tempo Storm themselves.
Thank you so much, Kylaris, and I am here with Som. Som, a very, very different demeanor from you right now than it was that last interview. I know that last game probably was a little bit closer than you wanted it to be, but how are you feeling right now?
It feels great to get out of groups, especially with, you know, how badly we were playing earlier. We got dumpstered by CE. You know, Deadly Kittens ended us in like, what, 12 minutes? So, you know, props to my team, being able to pick it up mentally and then just turn it around. That's great.
You were just talking to me before the interview about how stressful it is to play all of your games in one day. I mean, talk to us a little bit about the mindset there. And also, I want to ask specifically about the battleground control in that first pick, Warhead Junction, and how you decided to kick off that match with that specific pick and that specific strategy.
So I understand for the viewers, it's probably less confusing and maybe a little bit more exciting playing out your entire group in one day. So I get that. I mean, it is terrifying, though. And as for the Warhead Junction and the battlefields that we picked, we just wanted to catch them off guard. We knew that, you know, we're backs against the wall. We got to pull out some strats, and, you know, we got a lot more stored.
Awesome. Well, you have a whole week ahead of you now to prepare for BlizzCon. How do you expect to spend that week? What are you and your team going to plan to focus on? How will you take advantage of that time?
We're going to have to spend a lot of this week learning more of the European and Korean meta. Many of the North American teams, as you know, we bootcamped in NA. Korea and Europe bootcamp together. So they got their own meta, and we got our own like wonky little thing going on. So we're going to have to spend more time figuring them out.
All right, well, Sam, congratulations. Enjoy your week. I can't wait to see you at BlizzCon. Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, guys, just like that, Group A closes out as we have to send another team pack in. MVP Black and Tempo Storm advance to the quarterfinals for BlizzCon next weekend, while Deadly Kittens and CE have to close out their season till next year. Guys, we got much more group stage action coming at you this weekend, so please come back and join us. Tomorrow morning, we start again, 11 a.m., same time, same channel, twitch.tv/BlizzHeroes, or over on the BlizzCon site. On behalf of the cast, the crew, and these incredible teams, thank you so much for joining us this evening. We look forward to seeing you tomorrow morning. Thanks so much.